Okay, so I've been building and painting Warhammer minis for a good number of years now, and there are some things that I wish I'd known about when I started. If you're a beginner or you're looking to improve your painting, then these 10 things are hopefully going to change the game for you. This list actually started as 5 things, but it started to grow as I wrote it, so I'm sure there will be 10 more things and maybe it can turn into a regular series. If you have any painting revelations yourself, or there's anything that you discovered when you were learning and you would like to share it, hit me up on Discord or in the comments and I will work it into the next video. Alright, let's get into it. First up, let your layers dry properly. This one is basically patience. Unless you're wet blending, you can stop impatiently reworking that wet paint and let it dry. As they dry, paints can change colour slightly, and once that glossiness in the water has gone, you might see different tones. Also, if you work over paint that hasn't dried properly, you get horrible marks and texture, and your eagerness to finish that miniature can kind of bugger things up. Have a little patience, or if you really need to, keep a small hairdryer next to your painting area and you can use that to dry the layers a little bit more quickly. Number 2, consider buying or making a wet palette. Okay, this is an obvious one, but I just wish that I'd switched to a wet palette sooner. I know that it's important to use a dry palette and to understand how the paint behaves and how it reacts to the water when you add that, and that is key to working with the paints that you have. But personally, I found the difference in working time, even within a single session, was too useful not to take advantage of. Third thing, stop touching your models. Obviously you can pick them up and handle them, but put gloves on. I watch videos of people painting all the time and I see this all the time. Stop touching your model with your bare fingers. Even I do this and it's wrong. So do as I say, not as I do. There are actually natural oils in your skin, and when you touch the model, they transfer onto the paint or the plastic, and that makes it hard for the paint to adhere. Also, your horrible, rough troll fingers will rub paint off, even if you're being careful. Either mount your mini on a handle or some cork, or get yourself some gloves. When I do both of these things, it saves me a ton of repair and touch-up work further down the line. Number 4, keep a recipe book. Not for cooking, obviously. Every time you paint something, and you expect to paint that thing ever again, write down the paints that you used and in what order. Whatever you think, you will not remember the paints you used. Just write them down, man. If you can paint, you can write. And you'll thank yourself when you come back to a half-finished job, or when you're painting a full army, or when someone says, "Sick leather, man, what did you use to paint that?" Sick leather. Sick leather. Nobody fucking says sick leather. Oh, cool orange armor, man. What paints did you use to paint that? Oh, I like the blue you used. What is the recipe for that? I like what colors did you use for the teeth? What color is the hair? Number 5, look at real things. This is another obvious thing to do. If you want to paint something, is that my phone? Jesus Christ. If you want to paint something, find a picture or find that thing and use that as a reference. You'd be surprised how much you realize certain things aren't just like one color or the color that you thought they were. And you'll learn a lot about color and light from looking at from looking at things by looking at real things in real situations. Granted, this might be less useful when you're painting things that don't really exist in real life, but there will be similar materials and similar types of thing at various scales. Or you can try, and I don't like recommending this, but you could try using AI image generators to help you get something reasonably realistic if it's something that you just cannot find a picture or a reference for. Remember, you just need the material, not necessarily the actual thing. You don't need to find a floating pirate ship with metallic dwarves in it. You could just look for types of metal, a ship hull, and all the other parts individually. Basically, shit has different colors in it compared to what you expect. Tree bark, I am going on a bit here, but tree bark is rarely brown, rocks are rarely grey, ultramarines are never actually, ultramarines are kind of blue all the time. Number 6, here we go. It's going to be a catchphrase, get better brushes. It's an obvious one, but if you want to up your game, I cannot tell you how much difference getting a good set of natural hair brushes will make. I know synthetics are getting better these days. There's people out there using synthetics, and they're doing a good job, but my experience is that they hook and even the more expensive ones do not last as long as a natural hairbrush. That's just how it is. And I get that they can be expensive, or they certainly used to be, but there's only so long you can paint with crappy synthetic brushes. And I often refer to a set of affordable, natural Kolinksy Sable brushes that are absolutely ideal for beginners because they don't cost a lot of money. You can check the description for my Hawk Miniatures paintbrush sets that come in regular and deluxe. That is just different handles. You can get a full set of brushes from Hawk Miniatures for £10 less than the cost of a single Winsor & Newton Series 7. I don't know why people aren't taking that more seriously. When you realise what a proper brush with an actual belly and a proper tip can do in terms of making a difference to the painting techniques that you can learn, you'll understand that it makes so much more sense to invest in some good brushes. I'm actually planning a video on proper brush care and usage and control, so if you subscribe and the moons have aligned and YouTube somehow notices, then you might get some sort of notification in your feed about that if the algorithm's feeling generous at some point in the future. Number 7, get a set of magnifying glasses. I have one of my sets here, and I think they're just kind of like glorified reading glasses, but they have lights. Oh, there we go. Just one of my sets. I have 3 different sets. I've got a 2.5 times magnification, I've got those set, which I think are a little bit more, and then I've got a 5 times magnification set, and I just interchange them. Again, I will do a video on magnifying glasses at some point because I'd like to kind of show you all the different types that are available, but they will make a difference. Okay, number 8, spend more time on your preparation. Nobody really wants to do this, but it made a big difference to me, this one. And it's one that will probably stop people looking at your minis and thinking, oh God, this person is really amateur. And when you're building your mini, whether that's fully or in sub-assemblies, make sure that you scrape off the mold lines, remove the sprue contact points, fill your gaps, drill your gun barrels. The easiest thing to notice in beginner photos and on beginner's miniatures is when this stuff hasn't been done. Yes, it takes longer to get to the fun painting bit, but it makes all the difference and you will feel better for it once you start painting. If you prime your mini and then you notice some bits because the primer has highlighted either sprue lines or bits that you haven't quite got smooth enough, then don't be afraid to sand those down, fix the mold lines and so on, and then smooth that over, reprime, and carry on. It's worth the additional work to get that stuff looking nice. All right, number 9, collect color schemes. If I'm doing something new and I want a new color scheme for it, I have a stack of places that I go for that. I did make a video on that a little while ago that will show you all the different places that I look for color schemes. But generally, I have a folder on my computer, and that is my first point of call for color scheme inspiration. I would suggest doing a similar thing, saving them from the internet, bookmarking them on Instagram, wherever you see them. Keep a collection. I guarantee it will serve you when you come to start a new army or a new miniature and you want some inspiration for color. All right, lastly, number 10. I've covered this in my paint video, but you do not need every paint out there. You don't need a full set of paints. You don't need every paint under the sun. I fell into this trap. I bought the full Citadel set years ago. I bought the full P3 set years ago. I bought a whole stack of Vallejo model color, game color, bought the big briefcases of it all, went through all of that, and I am now an AK 3rd generation full set wanker, but it's easy to assume that the more paints you have, the better your painting is going to be, and the less you need to mix unique colors and that sort of thing. But the reality is, I still use most of the same tones, and I go back to the same paints an awful lot of the time. I'd say at least 50% of the colors that I have on my desk are not used, and that's not including the stacks of paints that I've got in my cupboard that aren't even being used at all yet. If you get better at mixing your paint and you note down your color recipes, then what you'll find is you probably keep returning to the same core set of paints. And I would say, instead of trying to buy full sets, pick recipes for things that you like the look of. Don't be afraid to go outside of the one brand that you already have and see how you get on. It's okay to mix and match from different brands, and it's okay not to have every color that you could possibly need. It's not difficult to get hold of acrylic paint. So how's that for 10 things? Shite? Well, you watched it. Or maybe you didn't and you skipped straight to this bit. I don't know why you would do that. If you found these useful, please let me know in the comments or on my Discord. If you join up, feel free to share some of your own tips. I would gladly incorporate them into another video like this. I would also love to see what sort of thing you've been working on, so feel free to share that in the Discord. If you have better tips, please let me know in the comments. And if you think I'm wrong, maybe just keep that to yourself. Like, take your opinions elsewhere. The world is a shit enough place without your negativity, man. We're all just in this hobby trying to have a good time. Shouts to all the people who are enjoying my content, and shouts to the people who aren't but could be convinced to enjoy my content. I don't know what I'm getting at. Anyway, thank you for watching once more, and I will speak to you all very soon. Grandad mode for turning this. Right, where's the button? Here we go.